This week on G&T Sips and Giggles, Glenn and Tina take a heartfelt journey into the world of the Opportunity Frocks drag pageant in a special two-part episode. Join them in part one as they reminisce about the dazzling performances, behind-the-scenes moments, and unforgettable experiences from the contest. With genuine warmth and insight, Glenn and Tina share personal stories and reflections that offer a deeper look into the magic of drag pageantry. So, grab your favourite drink and tune in for an engaging episode filled with nostalgia, elegance, and the captivating world of Opportunity Frocks.
Everybody, and welcome to this edition of Sips and Giggles.
Yes,
It's me,
hello.
Miss Tina Lake's Tantrum, with legs from here to Antrim.
Yes, hi Miss Legs. How are you this? How are you this week?
What's wrong with you? You just get kicked out of bed this morning?
Well, I've had a very, very busy weekend, so I have, a bit like yourself.
What do you mean a bit like me? I was with you the whole way.
That's what I mean. You were a bit, that's what I'm saying. It's a bit of a busy weekend.
Yeah.
Unlike yourself, though, as you know, I have my 9 to 5. I work Monday to Friday, so I've been on. This will be me 8th day in the trot working. Is that like the smallest violin in the world there?
The smallest teeny. It's like Radio 1 used to do this. My tune.
Our tune it's called.
Yeah. And they used to play that way back in the day when I worked.
Sounds like this.
That's it. I can't believe you have that. Oh my god!
I have that my soundboard for when I used to work in Cabaret.
Right,
that was whenever they were doing the Dear Girls section.
You are so good. Honest to God. See you, DJ Mushroom. You are on the button.
Always on the button. Always on the button.
Absolutely love. How are you, Glenn Marshall Adams?
I'm delighted and excited about this episode, Miss Tina Lake's Tantrum.
Yes.
How are you?
I am great. I have been busting to talk about this for a long time.
Yes, it's been definitely one of the ones that we've been sort of counting down towards,
Yeah.
isn't it? So
It is the one and only, you said.
this is the episode about the Opportunity Frocks.
Yes.
Now, we've got a lot to unpack. We've got 10 years worth of contest to
I know.
unpack. So
know.
what we have agreed is that we'll split this over 2 episodes.
2 episodes.
I think it's only fair because there's a lot in there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've done any sort of research for today, if you've
I
prepared
remember
for
everything,
today.
love. I have the memory of an elephant. I never forget a kindness.
So I spent most of today going through some of the old videos
Oh, wow.
and having a look at some of the videos. I actually uploaded quite a lot of new stuff onto the YouTube channel today. There's a lot of stuff that was never ever put out
Wow.
that's on there. So, listeners, if you're interested, head on
Yeah.
over to YouTube and just look up Opportunity Frocks.
Especially Tanya Body, if you're listening, she is like the Op Frocks groupie.
Well, I've got some interesting stats for you that we'll get to that.
Okay, good.
But for those people who are just tuning into the podcast, have never lived in Belfast or maybe outside of Belfast, or have never heard of Opportunity Frocks, how would you describe Op Frocks, Tina?
Opportunity Frocks is that one event once a year, charity event, roller coaster, donkey ride, flip flop, back to front, spectacular, drag queen, unpredictable night of the most unbelievable raw talent you could ever wish to see. It's just full of nerves and confidence and optimism, and it was always the atmosphere for me. For me, knowing we were backstage, you could feel it sweeping across. sweeping across, the
it's
build up, the essence. It was just lovely.
So it's a big drag pageant at its heart, wasn't it? And
I'm sorry I went on a wee bit too much there, but obviously I was just thinking about me. It's a drag queen competition, basically.
I mean, you definitely give it such a fantastic intro, you know, because it does deserve that. And I know, I'll talk obviously on behalf of myself, but there was always that build up.
Yeah.
And I know that everybody in Belfast was super excited about Opportunity Frocks coming around every year. You always described it as
gay Christmas.
And this is if you were listening a couple of episodes, I said, you know, leave it to the gays to have more than one Christmas in a year, because it was that sort of big event where, you know, the who's who of the gay scene would turn up, particularly a lot of the drag queens and all would turn up as well.
Yeah.
And it would be something of a bit of a spectacle. And there was always that sort of mystery around who was going to be on Up Frocks this year. How were they going to do it? Was there going to be any changes?
What are they going to bring to the competition? What are they going to do? You know, will they pull all the stops out? Will they, you know, it was, and some of the things that happened over the years, I will always cherish, because, you know, to me, it was the most incredible 10 years of my drag life that were so extra special.
It was definitely. Now, just again, so we can provide a bit of context.
Absolutely.
The contest started
in 2008.
And it was in Glasgow.
It was, and I came first.
Yeah, so you actually won the original Opportunity Frocks. Now, if you remember, it was originally set up to support the Terence Higgins Trust.
That's correct.
And it was in the Arda in Glasgow.
That's right, yes.
The venue was called Arda.
That's right.
And there was a crowd of us went across. You were contacted. I don't know, can you remember how you were contacted?
By Doogie, and they had said, look, we're running this drag queen competition. Would you be interested in taking part? And I said yes, straight away. So I went to Edie McClay. I showed him the email. I asked for a bit of sponsorship, and he said yes, of course. So then I got my stuff together. You done my music.
I did.
You did.
I did.
And then we went across, and it was the 3 rounds. And I think there was like 6 contestants.
There was, yeah.
And I don't really think they were used to something like that.
But the contestants, is important to point out, is the contestants were from all around the UK, weren't they? So even though it was held in Glasgow, it wasn't just Scottish queens and Northern Irish queens. No. It was English queens, Welsh queens, Northern Irish as well.
Yeah. Well, it was indeed, and they were all lovely, and everybody got on really, really well. And that's one of the beauty about backstage, as you well know, especially, you know, not even Opportunity Frocks. When you got a group of queens and you're all going to be performing on the same night, there's an awful lot of really wonderful camaraderie. I love the whole polishing each other's crowns and supporting each other, and I'm a big advocate for that. And that was another reason why I wanted to take on Opportunity Frocks after 2008. But on that night, yeah, I was so surprised, because I thought it was going to be just me and a plethora of Scottish queens, and it wasn't.
No,
they were from everywhere.
And of course, as you mentioned already, you won that event.
I did.
And, you know, that was...
And me and my wee mammy won a wee trip to Gay Paris.
Absolutely. You went to the Lido in Paris.
We went to the... Will you hear what I done? So we went, and then I forgot the address of our apartments. And when we went to see the show, and it was totally and utterly mesmerising. So when we were coming home in the taxi, one said to me, "Where are you going?" I couldn't find a piece of paper.
For goodness
sake. Then we were in the middle of Paris, and we were like, so we had to phone Doogie and get him to tell the taxi man where we were, and he had to scramble to find out where we were. But anyway, we got back there, and we had just missed a massive snowstorm.
Flip.
So we had, and there was still quite a lot of, you know, when snow, you know, gathers up around doorways, and there was lots of stuff like that. And
yeah.
So it was pretty cold. It was like -14.
Flip.
When we were there, but it was absolutely amazing. Mummy and I had the best time.
So you won.
Yes.
That was the end of it, or at least so you thought.
Oh, that was it over. Came home.
You got a gorgeous crown.
Beautiful crown.
And the trophy. The sterling silver trophy, which was really unique, wasn't it? If you think back.
It was gorgeous. It was on that beautiful mount, you know, that slab. And then it was the dress. It was like a big, long frock.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of up and over the shoulders, and, you know, like a bustier. And then it had all these like
sort of ruffles and ripples down it,
ruffles
didn't
and
it?
ripples, but the buttons of the dress that went the whole way down were all little diamonds.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
were. And I was so proud of that. Came home, didn't say another thing, and thought, wow, and everybody was really nice. Congratulations. Thank you so much. And I remember there was one queen, and she had kind of muttered under her breath and said, well, no reason. Anyone, you came first. She was only like 5 or 6 in the
Do you
competition.
want to name who it was?
No.
Go on, do it.
Well, she's no longer a queen, so that says it all. And she never really was to begin with.
Okay.
And I kind of had heard it, so I went to her and I said, excuse me, what did you say? But I brought the person who came and told me with me. And the person who I brought with me nearly creamed their drawers. And I was like, you better come with me, because I'm not going to say she said, you said.
Yeah.
And when I went to the person and then I said, did you say to her that the only reason that I won because there was 5 or 6 people there, and talk about a jaw hitting the floor? I was only joking. And I was like, well, you do it then. You do it. You go and represent your country. You go to a different country. You stand up on stage. You do 3 rounds and you win. And by the way, that's not my first win. That's actually my second. Miss Alternative Ireland 2001, Opportunity Frocks 2008. I can't wait for the 3rd one. As a matter of fact, I'm a living legend now because I've just won a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Shameless plug. Shameless plug.
But for that, I sort of, that fills me with fire, and I don't mind people saying that. But if you're going to say something and I come and I ask you, tell the truth, because I would have went, no, well, that's okay.
But then, so that obviously, you say it lit a fire.
That lit a fire inside of me, and it was about 4 days later when the organisers contacted me by email to say they weren't going to do it again. And they said, it's yours if you want it, Tina. Do whatever you want with it. And then I had this marvellous idea, and then I contacted you.
You did.
Glenn Marshall Adams. And I said, Glenn, listen, we have this wonderful opportunity. And you were like, right, let's go. And in 2009, in very early November, we had our first ever Belfast Opportunity Frocks.
We did.
It was one of the best nights I could ever wish for. It was brilliant.
Do you remember much about the build up to that? Because I remember quite a stressful build up to that.
Yeah.
Because I think whenever we first started it, we had this grand idea that this was going to be a massive contest.
Yeah.
We were going to charge £30 a ticket at the door. Do you remember all of this?
Oh, God,
and
yeah.
we were I definitely feel that we got ahead of ourselves. We totally ran away with this sort of idea that this was going to be the biggest contest. And to be fair, it was the only contest of its kind in the north of Ireland.
It was.
So it technically, for all intents and purposes, was the biggest contest ever in Northern Ireland. But at the run up to that, I was a bag of nerves.
You were.
Like, I was so stressed out.
You were.
Because we were trying to flog these tickets at £30 a ticket, and it was only whenever we actually half the cost of £15
they flew out the door. They did. And I remember we were looking at each other and we were like, this is not working, this is not working, this is not working. And some people had bought them, not very many, at the price of nearly 30 quid. And the minute we dropped them, then we realised, right, okay, we're just going to be a bit, we weren't, it was our first one.
Absolutely, but we didn't know what we were doing. Sure, we
really didn't. Like, we were just really, really winging it.
Yeah.
And then, and on that first night, that was the night that Rusty won.
It was 2009.
Yeah.
It was indeed the year.
Rusty was just a young spring chicken.
So, contestants.
Go.
So the contestants in the very first Opportunity Frocks
dun, 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 dun.
was Pauletta Stiletto.
Okay.
Coco Chanel.
Wow.
Victoria de Tampax.
Okay.
2 for 1.
They were from Dublin.
Rusty Hinges.
Yes.
Lady Cha Cha.
Uh-huh.
Josie Hallowell. Blaneth McGee. And Regina George.
Oh my God.
Now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 names on there.
Uh-huh.
And they're all very prominent queens.
Right now.
Still working.
Pauletta Stiletto.
Mm-hmm.
Rusty Hinges.
Mm-hmm. Blaneth McGee
Blaneth McGee,
and Regina George.
and Regina George. Blaneth McGee, is that?
She's a Dublin queen.
She's a Dublin queen, that's
so
right.
Regina and Blaneth are Dublin queens.
Yeah, they are.
Regina, of course, works with
Paul Ryder
and Davina
and Davina.
and Victoria and those girls.
She's a looker.
Mm-hmm.
I said looker.
But thinking about the very first show, so bear in mind it's 2009.
Yeah.
Can you remember the premise? How we ran the show?
Oh my God, I remember it so well. The best way to visualize this, if you go back to the very first ever Britain's Got Talent and watch the auditions and watch the final and think, dear, and look at it now and how glossy it is and how spectacular it is and how neat and polished it is. So Opportunity Frocks in 2009 and then in 2017. But you know what? I wouldn't have wanted it to be any other way, because we learned so much about ourselves and about others and about working. You know, it was our wee baby, and even though I had won it in 2008, I wanted. This is what I wanted. I wanted to share that stage. That was my second award, and I just think, you know, the South of Ireland, Alternative Miss Ireland, unbelievable.
Well, it was definitely the trailblazer, wasn't it?
Oh,
it
yes.
sort of set the tone for
The template,
drag pageants.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it really did. And I just think that, you know, it was, why don't we do this in Belfast? You know, someone's got to do this for our queens. Someone's got to, you know, we've got to show the rest of the world we have bloody good queens. You know, we may not have the big fancy bars and, you know, like the bigger cities, you know, but we've got talent here.
Yeah.
So 2009 was our benchmark, our template to say to the rest of the world, hey, we're a bit scruffy looking, but, you know, we're going to get our teeth into this. I loved it.
So can you remember the rounds?
No.
Okay,
Remind me.
so the very first round was Hollywood Heroine,
So it was
and they had to come out dressed
as
their Hollywood heroine.
I remember Rusty came out as Susan Boyle.
She did.
I dreamed a dream and time gone by.
Pauletta Stiletta came out dressed as Minnie Mouse.
That's right.
Lady Cha-Cha, I think, was Lady Gaga at the time. And as you say, Rusty Hinges stole the show with Susan Boyle. And she took the mic and all off you. I don't know if you remember this. And she was like, you'd asked, can anybody guess who this is? And she took the mic off and she was like, oh, Piercy baby. You know, like that whole thing that she had done.
That's just one side of me.
Yeah. The second round then was Adam and Evening Wear.
Right, okay.
And then, of course, the final round was Showstopper.
Yes. My favourite.
I mean, that show, I remember the very first time watching it going, like, we're really on to something here. Yeah. But as you say, the production quality was non-existent.
Well, look at what, you know, it's so nice to walk into something that was basically like, you know, it was a blank blackboard. Yeah. And we were both given a piece of chalk. And what we did was we started in a tiny corner and we had loads of room to draw and to create and to visualize. And, you know, that 2009, the beauty about 2009 was everybody adored it because nothing like that had ever happened in Belfast before. Yeah. Not on that capacity. You know, and our panel of judges, and, you know, we incorporated charities. We, you know,
well, you're right, because at its heart, the entire show was designed to be a fundraiser for Belfast Pride.
Absolutely.
And I mean, minus expenses, which we incurred through the hiring of the hall and the equipment and the sound engineer and so on. All the money that we raised went to Pride.
Did.
And we were the single largest private contributor to Pride every year for 9 years. We were the biggest contributors. So fast forward 2009, Rusty wins. Yeah. And I remember that Rusty actually got an advert, or she was interviewed rather by her newspaper in Banbridge.
So she was.
So she did. And Rusty was an interesting winner for me because she she really took the reins and the title of Opportunity Frocks winner,
Yeah.
and she went out there to bang her drum saying,
did.
I won this. I suppose in some regards she done what you done, which was, she took the rein, took the title,
Yeah.
and, wore it like a badge of honor.
Absolutely.
And reminded people that she was a deserved winner, and people should give her work for that reason alone. And I remember, as I say, that she'd done the article for her newspaper in Banbridge. But I remember having a conversation with her after, and I was like, well, the day after, what did you get up to? Had it sunk in? How are you feeling? She was like, I woke up the next morning and I put the crown on, and she was eating her Cocoa Pops or something like that. She's eating a bowl of cereal in the morning with her crown on.
And you don't think about things like that what that does to a person, or you don't have to. It's not. Well, it is about winning, I will admit, but it's also even when you have your 9 or 10 contestants, they're so happy to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And what we fail to recognize, I fail to recognize. Sorry, not we. I didn't realize so many people would fall in love with it so passionately the way I did. Because that's all I ever wanted. I wanted the whole drag scene, the gay scene, the straight scene, the bi scene, the non-binary scene, the mummies, the daddies, the aunties, the uncles. I wanted them all to come and see, but this was different. This wasn't a show. This was a competition.
Absolutely.
And I think that those were our tiny little kind of sort of, this is what we wanted to achieve. I think what I wanted to do was to say to people, look, listen, come and watch this, see what you think, and then try and tell me you didn't love it.
Yeah.
And that for me was, because the next day and the next week and the next 2 weeks after, as we headed into Christmas, people were going, oh my God, Tina, see Opportunity Frocks, please do it next year, please do it next year.
Yeah.
And
there was some trepidation. I remember we had a whole conversation around whether we were actually going to run it again, because it was just the amount of effort that it was to get that show to the stage with zero starting money. We had no money to start, and like just the sort of the slog. But anyway, we did. And fast forward to 2010.
Wow.
So 2010 contestants.
Go.
Can you remember any of the contestants? Anybody that springs to mind? Can you remember who the second winner was?
No.
So the second winner was Trisha Delicia.
Big Trish Delish.
So the contestants were Barbie Stallone, Lady Cha-Cha, Dusty Flaps, Kitty Galore, Misty Falls, Pauletta Stiletta, she returned, Roxy Tumble Dryer,
wow,
Tallulah Boom Boom, Trisha Delicia, Wee Hannah Crush, and Kanye Bend, our very first drag king.
Oh my word.
Again, some big names in there.
Oh my God, yeah.
As far as Belfast drag scene's concerned, we've got queens in there such as Misty Falls, Pauletta, we've already mentioned before, Roxy Tumble Dryer.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible when you think back to then, and this is what, 15 years later?
Yeah.
And they're still going strong, even better, going stronger, And I think when you have that zest, can you imagine what it was like 15 years ago and they were competing?
Well, bearing in mind, there was only one bar. So the Maverick and all that didn't exist.
Didn't exist.
It was just Union Street Bar, and it was the Sunday Bingo Show was the only real drag cabaret show that was on a Sunday night.
That's
now,
right.
all you girls had your own nights during the week.
Yeah.
But it was kind of hard for queens to break through in Belfast.
To find somewhere
to work. Because there wasn't like an open drag stage. I mean, you girls would invite people along if they wanted to do it and so on, but it was by invitation rather than, the bar saying, here's an open stage, come along and, do what you want to do.
That is so true. That is so true.
Can you remember Trisha's act?
Vaguely.
She came out dressed as, her Hollywood heroine. Can you remember who it was?
No.
Mary Byrne from the X Factor.
Mary Byrne from the X Factor. Oh my God.
And she came out dressed as Mary Byrne. She'd just been for a weekly shop, do you remember?
That's
and she came out with a Tesco bag and the big sort of faux fur on.
Because Mary Byrne worked in Tesco's.
Yes, that was the whole thing again. There's an X Factor reference for you.
Yeah.
And at the halftime interval act, during 2010, we got Maddie Cavan, a.k.a. Cherry on Top, and he sang for us.
That's right.
During the interval act. And of course, Rusty came back and done a performance.
To hand back her crown.
To hand the crown over. Can you remember her performance? She came out in a big Barbie box.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Because that was the year she entered Alternative Miss Ireland.
Yes, yes. Well, actually, wasn't it? Was it not on the back of the winner of Opportunity Frocks? We had spoken to you had spoken to Panty, and we had suggested that could we send the winner of our contest
Down to
the Alternative Miss
And
Ireland,
she went down.
and she did. She went down and represented.
Yeah, she did indeed.
And of course, Roxy Tumble-Dryer was this the first instance of Roxy Tumble-Dryer on stage?
Yeah, so
and she was going through her goth era. Do you remember?
I do. I do. God bless her wee cotton socks. Look at her now. Pure glamour puss.
Absolute glamour
The
puss.
Diamante stoned queen.
And do you remember that you and Rusty filmed a promotional video for the 2010 contest?
And she was in my bed, and it was as if she was having a dream, and it was that track by Beyonce.
Sweet Dream and a Beautiful Nightmare. Sweet Dreams,
Yes.
yeah.
And I was under the bed.
Yeah.
And I come out from under the bed. She bopped me over the head with the trophy, and I was chasing her, and she was running all around the Kremlin. And
I
running all
remember
around
specifically
Union
in that
Street.
video, she had her arm in a cast because she'd broke
That's
her
right.
wrist or something, hadn't she?
She did. She did. I
Oh,
remember
dear.
it well. That was a good year. They all were.
They were. And I mean, you know, with some people returned. We had Pauletta had returned from the first
She
year.
did. God love her.
Lady Cha-Cha had returned as well.
She
Again,
did.
not deterred, but determined,
Uh-huh.
which was great. And that was something that we really welcomed in the contest as well. I
did.
remember that when we sat down to choose the contestants, because we got a lot of entries from people,
Oh, we did.
and there was a lot of deliberation around, you know, should we give people a second chance considering they already had their chance? Was that fair to do that?
Yeah.
And as we'll go on to learn, we gave some people more than second chances, and it was purely
Yeah.
because of their comedic value, and just that you know, people were coming back even more prepared and polished.
So they were.
Um,
Because I think it's important to give that, to have that, you know, because you can see when people have a lot of potential, but they just they need another go. They need another hand. They need another olive branch. And I think it's very important to say to someone, yeah, of course, have another go, you know, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but keep on trying.
yeah.
You know? Was that the year we started the Drag Queen musical chairs?
No,
Ah.
it wasn't. It wasn't.
Right.
So we're just going to take a very quick break,
Okay.
and we'll be right back after this.
See you soon.
So welcome back.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
And for those people that are still with us, we're delighted. So we were just talking about 2010,
Yeah.
and now we're into 2011.
Yes.
Now, 2011 was an awkward year for us.
It was because it was the first time we'd ever done the show on a Sunday night.
Yes.
So we done the Opportunity Frocks competition on a Sunday night. I can't really remember the reason why we didn't have it on the Saturday night. And it went well,
Yeah.
but it could have been a hell of a lot better. But then again, it taught us a very valuable lesson.
It did. It did.
You know, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. And if it's, you know, keep it on the Saturday. Everybody loved it. Everybody was going because there was too many people had to get up early for school, college, university, work on the Monday morning, you know. So you have, you know, it was good. We needed to learn that. But we went ahead with it.
We did. We did.
We got stuck into it.
It was a challenging year.
Very much
I
so.
think we discovered, you know, that that as you've already covered, you know, Sunday night late nights is not everybody's cuppa.
No.
But this was the first year that we introduced.
Drag Queen musical chairs.
Yes. And can I tell you, that for
Wow.
me is the best round.
It is.
It's such a simple concept, you know, and for the purposes of our listeners, we should just sort of spell this out. It is exactly as you're hearing it.
So you've got 10 drag queens.
Yeah.
You've got 9 chairs.
Yeah.
And then we have to set the parameter where they have to be on the outside of the chairs, walking around the stage
They have to touch the wall at either side.
at either side.
Mhm.
And they have to keep like a little bit of a distance away from the chairs. You're not allowed to hover over them.
Yeah.
And everybody is on tender hooks.
But it was also, I think you'd also gave the instruction as well, is that they had to sort of perform for the judges. So they when they were walking around, they had to sort of do like a spin or a wee.
They had to do like hop on one leg. Or they had to walk.
And that was exactly it, because you started to get really
I got
cheeky.
totally carried away.
You got really cheeky.
Yeah,
you were like, right, walk backwards. Now walk backwards on one leg.
And they were and they were like effing and blanking and calling me everything, and they were like, "Tina, are you effing serious?" And then it whittled down to like the last 3 or 4, and you could just see the venom. But I loved it as it got toward the end, and I absolutely adored. Do you know what I loved? It was the perfect round before the showstoppers,
and it was just so simple,
easy.
And credit to, and by the way, we should also point out that it wasn't just you and I responsible for Opportunity Frocks, and we maybe should have given credit at the top of the episode, but really the man who done everything for us visually and also all the audio and the music and all of that was Mr. Peter Hamill, who...
Love you, Peter Hamill.
Yes, absolutely. We absolutely could not have done it without him. And, he really added that polish to the show.
He gave it that good old X Factor makeover. He kind of just done that sprinkle, and all of a sudden it just became wow.
Yeah, and I think as time went on, people started to look forward to the promos, and they were really keen to sort of see what we were going to do.
Of course.
What was the theme for the year? But contestants for 2011.
Go.
Okay, here we go. Misty Falls, so she returned for a second year. Lady Fifi.
Right, okay.
Peaches Monroe.
I remember we Peaches. That was...
Hoyla Ho.
Right.
Babsy Davis. Alexia Falls.
My word.
Lady Cha-Cha.
Yes.
Back for third year.
Mm-hmm.
And Tanya Body. This is the very first
ever Miss Tanya Body.
Tanya Body to the stage.
And that was a Sunday night. Peaches Monroe won.
Peaches Monroe did win. That's
and
correct.
Her daddy that was the first time her family had ever seen her in drag. And I remember when she was stunning. She looked absolutely incredible. She was brilliant. They were all brilliant, like they really, really were. And yes, Miss Tanya Body.
Tanya Body was welcomed on stage by another Op Frocks alumni who has not actually yet took part in the contest, but Miss Penicillin. They come out and done a double act.
That's right.
On stage. But as you say, yes, Peaches Monroe had won.
She did. She was phenomenal. She done that real, remember the mix, and it was so funny, and it was so like American, and I just looked down and I thought, you're going to win this. And she did.
This was the first year as well where we properly started to choreograph opening routines.
We did. And it worked so beautifully.
And you'd actually bought matching dresses for all of the
contestant.
Do you remember that?
Every contestant.
So they were all they all come out and they were all able to do their wee thing at the beginning of the show.
And we done that big opening routine because I wanted it to be slightly pageanty. I wanted it to be very what do you call the movie with Sandra Bullock?
Miss Congeniality.
Yeah, I wanted that vibe. I wanted them, and do you know what? It was a good way not to just uniform them. It unified them. Because they were all nervous, and it was a good way to get them all out on stage together, to get that first big, oh my God, I'm going out on stage, and get it out of the way because they were all on together. And I think that in itself was amazing. And they all worked together so beautifully.
They did. And I mean, despite the woes with it being on a Sunday, which we've already talked about, it was a very good contest.
It was indeed.
So we're now rolling on. We're now into the fourth year in 2012.
Yes.
We're into the fourth year of the contest in Belfast, fifth year of the contest running all together. And contestants.
Go.
Pauletta Stiletta.
Wow.
She's back again.
Yes.
Crystal Starr.
Crystal Darth, the star.
Tanya Body. Candy Vijay. Dina Straddle.
My God.
Sasha Fierce. Candy Warhol. And Rusty Sunset.
He was a drag king.
He was another drag king. Yeah.
That's right.
Now, can you remember who won in 2012?
2012 was a Pauletta Stiletta.
It was indeed.
There you go.
Third time's a charm.
Third time's a
Pauletta
charm,
Stiletta.
exactly.
But this year was an interesting year. and I don't know if you remember this,
Go.
but I remember this quite vividly. The contestant Dina Straddle.
Yeah.
Do you remember we had to talk her off a ledge?
Yes.
Do you remember she left the contest during the
Yeah.
day? She was so overcome with nerves and anxiety because in her head the contest was a lot smaller than what it actually was. And she came out on stage, and I remember in rehearsal she was like, "This venue is huge." I mean, the Empire holds about 300 people comfortably, so it's not massive.
Yeah.
But if you're an up-and-coming drag queen and have never performed publicly before or on a stage, you know, other than that, maybe like in a small bar or in your bedroom, walking onto that stage is going to be nerve-wracking.
Absolutely.
And we had to really convince her not to leave the
Don't
contest.
leave, stay. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You know, and it just goes to prove, just goes to show that, you know, that there are people out there and heart can affect them, you know, on that night. And thankfully, she stayed.
She did.
She did. And I'm sure she's glad that she did, because if it proved one thing, you know, she probably might have regretted not even trying.
Yeah.
And it was good that everybody else was so supportive and they were putting their arms around her, you know, because it that myth that we drag queens are ruthless and we're cold and we can be cruel, we can. But with each other, when push comes to shove, we will polish each other's crowns.
Absolutely. Although I have to also say,
Wow.
during the musical chairs, I don't know if you can remember poor Dina, but her heel broke.
Yes, that's right. That's
and
right.
there's this video of her just walking around, but she's literally walking where she's walking with a limp. She's walking up on her heel, down on her heel, up on her heel, down on her heel.
It was hilarious.
It's just going round. And then of course they get so competitive when it gets down to the last two.
Totally and utterly.
And at that point you've got people literally grabbing the chair and they're fighting over this chair, like, you know.
Oh, yes. The pull and the push and the pull and the push and the grab and the stuff. And everybody screaming and screaming for their queen. Scream for your queen. Oh, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And yet another sellout.
Absolutely. The promo for that year,
Yeah.
I particularly enjoyed the promo for this year, for 2012. The promo was you performing on green screen to the song by Gossip called Move in the Right Direction.
Oh.
And I watched this today, and I had a cackle because in the video there's a picture. There's a part of the video where you're wearing this bright red bob wig and a hat and a big fur jacket. And as the song starts, you're just giving like a wee granny mush, like you're really getting into the beat. It sort of tickled me. I thought it was very funny.
I love doing that one because I'd never really done anything like that before, and I know I can dance and throw myself around the place. But I wanted it just to be like that kind of, that's something I normally don't do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it worked so beautifully. It worked so well, you know, and I love the song. I love the artist. And the feedback, positive feedback I got from, not one person said to me, made you do that? You know, there would be question, but there wouldn't be negative.
Yeah.
You know, I've done things before people have gone, Tina, didn't really like that, I would say, but it's nice to try things.
Yeah.
You know, everybody was like, Tina, perfect song choice.
Yeah, it was very good. And to be fair, it's one of my favourite songs as well by Gossip.
It's not my favourite though.
Well, we will get to them because as we go through the years, we will make a point of talking about the promos. So we're going to park it there. The next episode will pop out in a couple of weeks' time. But if you want exclusive early access to that episode, why not head on over to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/GNTpod. And all of our patrons get early access along with other exclusive content. And you can just buy us a drink for the price of a drink.
So you
Every month you can get access. And of course, if you want to follow us for free, you can do that as well.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back after this. Tina's tips.
Think positive, be positive, and positive things will happen.
Tina's tips.
My iconic tonic.
Hey folks, it's that time of the show that I love. It's Iconic Tonic.
Iconic Tonic.
So who's yours, Glenn Marshall Adams, darling?
So this week, it's not actually a person.
Oh.
Because you know how I like to mix things up.
You do.
Mine's actually an app.
Oh. Surprise, surprise.
And of course, before you think it's not Grindr or any of the hookup apps. Okay. I'm not on that kind of stuff because I'm a married mom.
Married mom,
but actually, it's an app that I used when I was on my holidays. Ooh. And it actually saved me quite a bit of time. It's an app called Flighty. And you can get it for free off the App Store. It's on all major app stores. And basically allows you to add all your flight information in there. And you can keep all of your upcoming flights. But the good thing about it is that it uses artificial intelligence, and it will tell you the probability of your flight being delayed. And it will also tell you the gate information before it comes up on the screen. So for that reason, the app Flighty is my iconic tonic for the week.
Spell Flighty.
The word flight with the letter Y on the end.
Flighty.
Correct. Can you use it in a sentence?
Doily.
What about you? Have you thought of an iconic
you know
tonic?
me, my iconic tonic always is the big females. And you know who I've fallen back in love with? I'm going to sing a wee bit of one of her songs. Oh, I remember her from the 80s. Ladies and gentlemen, we dream the same dream. We want the same thing. Oh.
Belinda Carlisle.
Yes. I adore that woman. And you know when you hear an artist that you haven't heard in a while.
So did this come into your head because yesterday I played?
Yes.
So for those people that are listening, we were at a gig. We were at a gig yesterday, and I put on "We Want the Same Things," and it's that start where it goes, "Hey, hey, hey, ding, 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 ding." So do you know what? Actually, that I was going through my music library and I seen that and I was like, oh, I haven't played that in forever. Such a great choice.
And also we can't forget the classic. Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth?
Oh, yes. Heaven is a place on earth.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So those are the classics. Choice. Miss Belinda Carlisle, if you're listening, please download patreon.com and we'll give you some exclusive bargains. Thank you for the music. And this is what I mean. I always go for my iconic tonic are people who make me feel, you know, when everybody has a giggly button, a giggly pin. Uh-huh. And some people, when you hear something or they say something or they do something, they always affect your giggly pin. But my giggly pin is always associated with music. So when I heard that song yesterday, I still feel good because I haven't heard that song in years. Uh-huh. And that's why all day today I was doing stuff, researching and going over lots of different things, getting myself ready. And I had Belinda Carlisle on in the background.
Such a good choice.
Oh,
such a good choice.
Thank you.
Go and listen to Belinda Carlisle. If you've never heard of her before, go and listen to her music.
And she reminds me of me. You know why? Not from my singing voice, because we're both gorgeous. What are you laughing at?
I think you look fabulous today, by the way.
Thank you, darling.
Where's the outfit from? And I forgot to ask, where's the outfit from?
Shane.
Well, listen, that makes a departure from Primark.
Doesn't it? Because every time everybody's departing from
Primark.
Primark. I see Primark hitting the skids next year. Uh-huh. Oh, I love a good out bargain from Shane, and I love it when he comes to the door and you've actually forgot what you ordered and there's like 10 bags. Because I don't know anybody who doesn't go online and orders from one of those online stores and orders one item. Nobody does that. You go, oh, that's only £2. Oh my God, look at that. That's for £4 because they just link everything. These earrings will go lovely with those 10 dresses you've just ordered. Ooh. Yes. I'm a savage. Savage when it comes to online. And I like it when I forget and you open in the bags and go, oh my God, that's gorgeous.
Well, thank you so much. That was our iconic tonic.
Sip and share.
We have a message in on WhatsApp by someone called Dara.
Oh, hiya, Dara.
Hi,
Thank
Dara.
you. Hi, Dara. Thanks for texting, honey.
Yes, thank you so much for writing in.
Thank you, darling.
So Dara's message was, catching up on the latest episode, and I'm absolutely delighted to hear all about Tina's Lifetime Achievement Award. Massive congratulations and thoroughly well deserved.
Thank you.
I've always really enjoyed seeing Tina throughout my years on the scene. Also, fab show. Keep up the great work both. Cheers, Dara. Kiss, kiss.
Mwah.
His question is this.
Oh.
Do you have a confession that you can share?
Yes.
Well, then you can go first.
You have one as well. I know you have, because you actually went, oh my God, you're going pink. Okay.
I have to have a wee think about this now, because I need to tread very, very carefully.
Okay. Right. Okay. I'm going to say it. And this is actually true. I once had a crush on my second cousin. But I didn't know he was my second cousin. I was only after the fact. I thought, oh, that's your cousin? That cousin's my cousin? We're second cousins. And I went, ew. I know. It was awful. And it was a wee bit kind of, the ick. I got the ick.
Yes.
Thank God I did.
Okay.
What about you?
Well,
have you got a
I need
confession?
to, just it's on the subject of crushes, and I'm going to tread very, very carefully here.
Okay.
Because, as you know, I'm a married man.
Yes.
And, as you know, I work with quite a lot of people on the scene.
You do?
So once upon a time, many, many moons ago, I may have had a crush on a certain drag queen.
No!
Yes.
Oh my God, I nearly swore. You did? Did you?
I did.
Was it me?
I can't say.
Oh my God, I feel so awkward right now.
And that's all I'm gonna park that there.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, listen.
No, don't even you start.
Shut up,
no,
you.
don't
Shut
you
up,
start.
you.
Don't you start.
Shut up. Listen, I'm only after confessing out my soul. I poured my whole soul out there, so it did. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please write into the show, postcard, letter, WhatsApp, email, pager, and ask, please, Glenn, I need to know who the drag queen crush was that he had. I need to know who this queen was. We all need to know. Queens, if you're listening.
Well, that's all we've got time for today. Thank you.
I'll biff you. I swear to Almighty God, I'll jump the studio on you.
It's like Queens.
Can I guess?
Queens immobilized. Go for it.
Give me one guess.
They wear dresses.
I wasn't asking for a clue. I'm gonna guess.
Okay, go.
I'm gonna guess. Was it?
I can't say.
Right. Tune in the next episode, ladies and gentlemen, because we have some unraveling to do. I'm not gonna let this go. I may have let DJ Mushroom slip, but this one, Glenn's drag queen crush from once he was a little girl.
Yeah, you'll have to keep listening to that then.
Yeah, shoo love foot.
2024 it was shoo lace, just remember.
Oh, yes.
But look, that genuinely is all we've got time for this week. Thank you so much for listening.
Yes.
As always, if you have a question for Tina and I for our Sip and Share segment, or you've got a confession of your own and you'd like us to read it out, and we might want to give advice on that confession, then please feel free to write in. Tina's already mentioned you can get in contact with us through all of our socials. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. You can also email us. You can also send us a WhatsApp or a voice note.
Absolutely.
And we don't have to read out your name. We're quite happy to say it's from anonymous if you would prefer to say you're anonymous.
No, gives your name.
But as always, you'll find all of the details in the description of this episode. On behalf of me, Glenn,
and myself, Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Miss Tina Lake's Tantrum.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we look forward to catching you on the next
Thank
episode.
you so much for your continued support. I love you.
Yes, check us out on Patreon.
Mwah.
Until next time,
Chin chin.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at G&T Pod. Also, thank you to those people that took the time to write in a question. If you would like to write in a question or send us a voice note, you'll find the details in the description of this episode. And of course, if we haven't already asked enough of you, please subscribe and leave a review. But be kind. Much love, G&T.